We now move on to our second panel discussion for the day. The topic of discussion is rebooting K-12 education in the context of the new national education policy. Kindly note the panel discussion floor would be open for a Q&A session later. Now allow me to introduce the panelists to you. Firstly, we have Mrs. Pratima Sinha, CEO, DSR Education Society Hyderabad. Mrs. Pratima Sinha is a postgraduate in education with diploma in early childhood and education and business English. She has headed schools with CBSE, ICSE, Cambridge and IB programs and has also held the position of regional academic head with Pearson Education. She's on the advisory board of organizations like IECS and ISLI, Next Education and EdSense, and has been invited as a speaker to various national and international forums and conferences. Mrs. Pratima Sinha has published many articles in educational magazines which have been highly appreciated and is a blogger. She has done extensive research and developed many modules in teaching, pedagogy, and English enhancement program for adults. Her passion for the performing arts has led her to be a member of Nishumbhita Theatre Group, where she has played many pivotal roles. She is currently working and researching on correlating life skills with theatre and benefits of theatre on autistic children. Can we have her on stage with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. You can have your seat. Our next panelist is Dr. Manjula Raman, CEO, Royale Concorde International School, a committed pedagogist determined to bring in a change, a nominee for the Padma Shri Award 2018 in Literature and Education field, and a two-time President Awardee for her contribution in the field of education. Dr. Manjula Raman has been principal of Army Public Schools for over 25 years. She is a resource person for leadership programs for CBSE, TERI, Oxford Press University and British Council ELT program. She is the founder chairman of Anubhuti Foundation and Anubhuti Bal Bhavan, which leads the social entrepreneurship program for the underprivileged. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the next panelist, Mrs. Meera Isaacs, Dean, Cathedral and John Connon School, Mumbai. Mrs. Meera Isaacs, Dean of the 160-year-old Cathedral School, is the driving force behind the transformation of the historic institution into a contemporary K-12 school. She has been associated with the school for the past 44 years and completed 25 years as the principal in September 2021. Mrs. Isaacs is the recipient of numerous awards. Her invaluable contribution, vision and dedication have brought national and global reputation to the school. The Cathedral School's mission has been to educate young minds to allow them to understand how to adapt to the changing world around them, become global citizens with a local vision, develop a sense of international mindedness, and ultimately learn how to cherish the individuality of man and the commonality of mankind. She's not with us here. So moving on, I'll introduce the next panelist. That is Mr. Vividh Gupta, Principal, Bal Bhavan Public School, New Delhi. Mr. Vividh Gupta aims to create a brigade that is empowered to perform to the best of their proficiencies and edging along with the advancements of times and techniques. He is a self-motivated and self-driven individual with respect to taking initiatives towards the social concerns and causes, and a contributor in the developing positive mindsets in the uplifting society. In the recent years, he has worked towards ecological concerns. He has initiated the project Main Bhi Gandhi, aiming to create awareness and sensitize masses to segregate waste at source. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Last but not the least is Ms. Manila Carvalho, founder principal, DPS Bangalore East. With a postgraduate degree in education and psychology, as well as being a qualified special educator, Ms. Manila has an experience of 30 years as an educationist. She is currently a PhD research scholar with Annamalai University and is researching on a thesis titled The Effect of Academic Adjustment and Parental Pressure on the Mental Health of Senior Secondary Students. She has been featured on many regional TV channels as an educationist and women achiever, and has contributed articles to various journals and newspapers and has published papers in reputed journals. She is also a recipient of several state, national and international awards. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, and a very warm welcome to all the panelists. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And I would now request Mrs. Pratima Sinha, who is also chairing this panel discussion, to please take over.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much, Education Today, for inviting us for the panel discussion. And I can see very few people in the audience right now. So we were just discussing before we came onto the stage that, you can say whatever you feel like because the stage is ours. So with that note, I'd like to welcome ma'am, Ms. Manjula Raman, and Vividh Gupta sir, and of course Manila for this discussion. Now, rebooting the NEP in K-12 education. So what we were discussing just now was, we do not want to talk about things which are not really happening. What we want to discuss is today what is really happening and how each one of the panelists here are adopting in their schools aspects related to NEP. What are the challenges they may be facing or what they're excited about. So it will be a very, very personal journey of theirs related to NEP. We do not want to talk and we do not want to give a lot of gyan about NEP and how we are, everybody is trying to do this. We want to really give solid examples to people who are sitting here to take away as a good practice that they can, initiate in their own schools and organization. So with that note, I would like to actually add on, it is a challenge. Anything new is a challenge. And I remember I'd seen a creative where this gentleman is asking the boss is asking everybody that who wants to take up a challenge? So everybody raises their hand. And then finally he says, okay, come out, who wants to really take up this particular challenge? And nobody stands up for that. Now here I feel the panelists who are with us, the eminent panelists, I'm sure they are the ones who are not just raising their hands, but they are moving forward to take up the challenge and initiate NEP in their schools. So with that note, I'll frame just two questions which will be common to all the three panelists. My first question is, what aspect of National Education Policy 2020 you feel that you can and you have adapted immediately in your school and you feel that it has done a wonderful, it has created a lot of development and a wonderful initiation in the school per se. So that is my first question. So ma'am.
I hope this is working, yeah. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. And yes, we thought we would get away with saying anything, but to the respect of everyone who is present here, we'll just share some of our experiences of what really excited us about the NEP. Well, I think all the aspects, because we are from the school sector, I would only confine to the school sector. So the first thing was the early education. That was one area which was very gray. We did not, there was a nursery school, a pre-primary school. Then the children suddenly were overwhelmed by a huge school, lots of children, lots of buses, and they suddenly become independent and they have to stay for longer hours. But what really excites me now is that the early childhood goes on till class 2. I think many of our schools which had the pre-primary along with the mainstream school, we followed that. That is not really a new thing. We had the mother teachers who would move from upper KG to class 1 and perhaps even to class 2. So they take them onto that journey, knowing each child, That's the, we all know as educationists, that is the best part in the life frame of a child, that he imbibes everything during that time. Most of the intellectual capacities, potentials are all, mustered during that time. And it's important that the best experiences are given. So that's one thing, Pratima, what really excites me. The second is the choice for the, right from here, I go right to the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So clubbing them together is a beautiful concept. I feel 9th is just the time when, children can put into practice some of the areas that they want to focus in. And that freedom of choices, that we do not have subject-oriented, the science, humanities, and commerce as we had. A science student can take art, or an art student can take physics. That's the next thing that excites me a lot. Of course, the middle levels, that is 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, are different segments. And I think that's wonderful when they call it the foundation years and the experiential learning. So these are some of the things that really excite me.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. This is the exciting part of what you feel. But what I actually asked was, are you implementing anything in your school? I would like to elaborate on that.
Yes. When you say, are you implementing? For me, the NEP was, what I'll say, old wine in a new bottle, because already most of the better schools were doing that. As I said, the mother-teacher concept and taking the children up to 2 was always there. We never clubbed the primary from 1 to 5. It was always 1 to 2, 1 and 2, and 3, 4, and 5, because they were at different segments. And as far as the choice of subjects is there, the school that I came from, we had legal studies, we had gender studies, and that was long ago, that was 10 years back. And there were children who were taking physics and chemistry with art. And what really helped them was when they got into design. Today we are talking about design thinking. So physics, chemistry, and art help them to really design think. And so we have been implementing, and the organization that I'm with now, or wherever I mentor, I always say that that freedom has to be there. And I mean, to some extent, and it's now become public and sealed, so, all of us can do it. When some of us did it, it was a little tough, but now we've got the sanctions.
Wonderful. So sanctions are all there, and we can do it with a lot of freedom. We can continue what we were doing, but officially now. I think that's what ma'am means. Thank you so much, ma'am. Mr. Gupta, what would you like to?
Yes. Good afternoon, dear audience. Thank you, ma'am, for that lovely question. I personally feel that National Education Policy 2020 is a very, very beautiful document. And the objective, the vision that it lays in front of an educator to upbring the young, talented children of our country, that will be very, very vigilantly taken care about by the teachers in the classroom. What I personally feel that there are 2 things that I would want to talk here about that we have already implemented before this policy came into place. Number 1 is about creativity and the critical thinking part. So at an early childhood level, till class, maybe nursery to 2nd, what we are doing is there is no examination for those children. And I'm sure that most of the schools are doing it. So when NEP says that we have to ensure that flexibility of assessment is there, we are trying our level best that we are able to do that at the pre-primary level. However, I personally feel that that becomes difficult when we move, we move up the ladder, talking about middle classes or senior secondary classes, because the format is such, the parents are not accepting that we need to try new things. Number 2, that I personally feel that the pandemic has allowed us to try new things is the technical intervention in the classroom. So the 2 years, I personally feel that at our school, we have used numerous tools. The teachers have undergone, rigorous training, and they have attended a lot of CPTs with CBSE and with Microsoft. and the kind of experiential learning environment was created in the virtual classroom, that is something that charms me a lot today. I personally feel that when NEP talks about that there has to be an extensive use of technology in education, I feel that we have got the hang of it. Today, the teachers know how to use the Kahoot quiz in the classroom. They know how they can integrate art in the classroom. They know the children can now prepare the PPTs and they can present it in the classroom. So dramatics is coming in. The children are given free expression. They're given a topic. They can choose whether they want to present it in a form of a PPT. They want to present it in the form of a poem. They want to do it in an art form. They want to write a song. They want to do it through a mimicry. So vast range of formative assessment options are available with the children today. And that is something that we have tried at our school. Even in 2020, when we saw that initially there was a lot of noise about virtual schooling and the children were very active. But as the time passed away, we were nearing the close of the year 2020, we saw that the enthusiasm was going down. So what we did was, I asked my students from grade 6 onwards that you were required to prepare your own portfolio. So we did virtual assemblies, we did fitness classes, we did dance, music, art and craft, everything was happening. But we felt that the children were not able to understand the objective of having those classes virtually, because some of the classes were kept optional because of the time constraints. So any student who was willing to do it, they were doing it very happily, but there was a group of students who was not prepared to attend those classes. But then when we told them that now in the next PTM in January 2021, you will be in charge and you are going to speak to your parents and tell them what have you learned in these 8 months. The students took the charge of it. They understood why the school was initiating different co-curricular activities and maybe introducing those through the hobby classes in the timetable. And hence, the willingness to try new things came in. And that really helped. So I personally feel that as school leaders, as teachers, it is very important for us to first believe in this policy. If we will be able to believe in this policy, we will definitely be put it firmly in front of our parents and students, and of course the results will be visible. So that's my take on that. Thank you so much.
That's wonderfully said. Again, I'll say that when we were discussing there, I told him you're a very young principal, and we need to learn a lot from you, because for us also, as as we are growing old, we need to keep changing ourselves, our thinking, otherwise we'll become dinosaurs. So with that note, I think
it's likewise. It's likewise the other side, ma'am. I personally feel like ma'am said that it's the old wine in the new bottle. So the mixture of the old and the new, that combination is something which is very, very invigorating, and that enthuses the energy in the staff, in the children, and I believe in that.
So that energy of yours definitely has, come into us. And I loved what you said, that students are the ones who are going to talk to their parents about their learning, which we call it as student-led conferences. And also, I love the fact that you spoke about students creating their own portfolios, which is what will be the self-directed learning that we are talking about today. That, we need to move forward. Every head of the, school, organization now have to start thinking about how do we encourage that student self-directed learning in the students. And these are such lovely practices for the same. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. Manila, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to speak about the experiential learning that we provided to the children in school. We took up the occasion of the skill subjects, after implementation of NEP from standard 6 onwards. And we brought in artificial intelligence there, and design thinking, as well as robotics. Now, artificial intelligence really took a big chunk of students, because that is the technology that is going to give them a career ahead. So many of them opted for this artificial intelligence, and we did tie up with Intel. And with their support, we did a lot of projects. Children came up with smart receptionists, using smart card in the cafeteria, to assess the waste food that happens in the cafeteria. So a lot of project children came in, and we did submit to Government of India and Government of India in front of CBSE as well, so a lot of accolades for them, and some of the children have applied for patenting the project as well. And even we have not left the teachers behind. We sent them for additional coaching on this subject, and in fact one of our teacher was given the first prize award for at the international level for the effort that she has put in educating and reaching out to large number of teachers and the students as well. Even now, we being the pioneer in bringing about AI in the schools here, we are reaching out to various schools and encouraging them to take up this AI course. And our school is AI ready school, right from principal to the attender to all the teachers. We all have done the AI readiness school, and we have been awarded, we'll be awarding shortly now, a certificate from Intel saying that AI ready school. So that is the one thing which we have started. And we were looking into the SDGs also. So during the pandemic, we spoke about the poverty line to the children, and we made cohorts of children, and we encouraged them to prepare food in their houses, and they went out to distribute with the help of their parents. Even that was also noticed, and some of the newspapers did pick up this article. And another important thing is about we created a news studio kind of thing for the students, and because they were so much fascinated with the news readers, so we created that, and like again we divided into groups, and we told the children, you bring out your ideas how to improvise on the news items. So they brought in the local news and school news or any sports news and things like that, and also to connect from the news office to the wherever the person is standing. Even from the Vidhana Saudha, they were trying to connect to the news report, talking to the ministers and things like that. So that is something which children really loved, and we did encourage a lot of internship during this pandemic, because children used to finish their school by 1:32, and after which they had a lot of time. So we did connect them to various places to, these are not paid internships, it's a free of cost internships, but just to get them that experience, we did encourage the children.
That's lovely. This is what, we really wanted, how to, the sharing of good practices. And what Manila just spoke about is of artificial intelligence. She's already bought into her school, right from the principal to the sub-staff, and a lot of, internship programs and all. Again, I would say it's all about self-directed learning that we are talking about. And this is what NEP is talking about today. Let me tell you, I was in one of the sessions last week, and one gentleman was saying, what is this coding about? Why should we talk about such big words in the primary classes and all that? But what I have seen and what I've understood about coding is nothing but patterning. And in our preschools, we actually do patterns a lot with the students. Right, a child keeps a spoon and a knife, a spoon and a knife, and a spoon and a knife. That is nothing but patterns. So we are starting to teach coding right from the preschools, and so we should not, hesitate that what is this coding? Why should we, go about starting coding in our school and in the primary or the pre-primary? Please, we are moving ahead, and we need to take it as a challenge also. So thank you so much, Manila, for that lovely sharing. Shall we go on to the next round of the question? So are we short of time? Only 2 minutes left? Okay. So quick question then. The second question what I wanted to ask all the panelists was about the challenges they feel in, bringing in NEP into their school. Every aspect, the aspect that they spoke about that they've already started implementing, I'll just ask them quickly one aspect that they feel will be very challenging to initiate in their school. Ma'am.
I would think training and getting everybody on the same page.
Okay, what I personally feel that the vocational aspects that the national education policy talks about, introduction of carpentry, pottery in the classroom right from grade 6, I think that is a huge challenge.
Yeah, for me, I feel, child when is 7 years old should enter first standard. I think that is very late. I think they shouldn't disturb the pattern that's already existing.
With that note, I personally feel, inclusive education is going to be a big challenge in the schools, because are we really, I think in my introduction it was told that I am actually looking at theater, initiatives for autistic children, and I know for sure that every school has got children with autism, and every school has got children who have learning disabilities. So bringing in inclusive education, and monitoring it is going to be a big challenge. But I personally feel that we should take up this challenge seriously. So with that note, thank you so much, Manila, Mr. Gupta, and ma'am. And thank you once again, Education Today, for inviting us. Thank you so much.
Anybody in the audience has any questions?
Any questions from the audience? Or would you like to share some good practice from your school related to NEP?
Anyone from the audience? Okay,
Yes, we
have
have.
someone there. Can we have the
Yes.
mic?
Good evening and good afternoon, everyone. Wonderfully listening to all 4 panelists. So many things you are doing. And I know every principal, whosoever is present here, must be trying to implement NEP in whole spirit and dedicatedly. And we are all doing it. The one thing that I would like to share, most of the things you have already said you are doing. The other thing that is there about planning of bagless policy, which is coming up, and making the children ready for higher education. Since it's an openness now, streams are not there, as you all discussed, that science stream is not there, or commerce stream is not there, subjects or choices are open. So we have to think about the subjects which are the children going to read or study after school. So combination, as principals, we have to take care of it, that the combination which the child is taking, is it acceptable for higher education? So that planning we are doing, and we are doing a lot of career counseling sessions also for this. We are inviting the experts, we are inviting the VCs to the colleges. It's virtual, it's a beautiful thing nowadays. We can talk to people all over the world, I believe. What is happening, what is requirement from school. So those expectations we are doing in school. Another thing that we are doing is like a very good thing that we did recently. When exams were there, and we have to start with revisions. Since the children were coming to school after a long gap, so we gave them assignments. Like revision was not done as pen paper test. We told them that in a class there are 30 students, and in our school we have a section of 30 only. So we divided the class into 6 groups, 5 each. And we gave them the topics. Like chapter 1 is to be done, say in English. Chapter 1 was to be prepared by those 5 students. And they had this type of panel discussion in the class. And the children were supposed to write the important points, those who were listening to them. It's not only those who participation was there. And the child who has written the maximum, who's noted down the maximum important points, was awarded the same time. So that type of assessment we did, and we did. I mean, this was a type of assessment and revision. They were getting prepared, and believe me, each and every child was participating. The classroom was a joyful classroom, and they were learning. The learning outcome was met. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'm Kiran Dalal,
I think
principal of Bright Scholar School.
You've used the right word, joyful learning.
Yeah.
I think all of us strive for that in our schools, joyful learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to all the panelists. It was indeed a wonderful discussion. I'm sure we all enjoyed it. I would now request Mr. Anil Sharma to kindly join us on stage to felicitate the panelists. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists.